everybody to our Facebook Live production, sponsored by Five Rivers Historic Preservation, Inc. I'm Linda Bowlin. I'm a founding member of Five Rivers, and our cameraman and director is John Allen French, who's the current officer. Our producer, Allison Schachtel, is on assignment elsewhere, and we have the assistant producer, Nathan Camp, who's also an officer in Five Rivers. Tonight, Pocahontas is the name of our series, and this is the 4th installment. And tonight, Pocahontas is community, it's education, it's history, it's heritage, and it's culture. And no place exemplifies those qualities more than the Mae Herron Center. And to lead our tour and tell us about the history, tell us about the activities, and probably tell us a little bit about Miss Eddie Mae herself, is a woman who's a visionary, and she's a founder of this place, and she's my friend, Pat Johnson.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am so excited to be able to talk about the Mae Herron Center. This is one of my favorite topics, and I can never talk about it enough. This building here started out as a place that was, it was just basically a place for all African Americans that lived here in Pocahontas and surrounding areas. This was the hub where everything went on here for the African Americans. It started off as a church, and it was the A.M.E. St. Mary's A.M.E. Church. And A.M.E., some may not know what that means, but it stands for African Methodist Episcopal. And that is how this church started here in 1919. The building, the church started out in the 1800s in another part of our community, which was over on Bland and Schoonover Street. And then that building was torn down, and then it was moved here on Archer Street here in Pocahontas. But as I say, this was the St. Mary's A.M.E. Church. And the way that the founders of the building came along to get money for the land and to build this building was they had a project that they called a jug breaking project. And at church, everyone would put so much money, just whatever they had, in a jug. And they would have, like we call it today, potlucks. But they would call it a jug breaking time, when they would break the jug, and then they would count the money. And that money is what would go into buying the land and building the building. So this, it started out as a church, and then as years went along, there were many other things that this building served purposes. I like to talk a little bit about the founders of the church, and one of them was Henry Taylor. And I don't know if some of you have gone to the ghost
Haunted tour.
Yeah, the haunted tour. Well, Mr. Taylor was one of them, and he was the gentleman that was the preacher here up until 1948. And in 1948, he was involved in an accident and was one of the businesses downtown where he worked blew up. It was an explosion, and that's how Mr. Taylor was killed. But then shortly after Mr. Taylor was killed, they brought preachers in from Newport, from Jonesboro. Now these were African American preachers that they brought in to conduct the services. And the church just constantly kept going down, you know, it wasn't as active. And so that part of the church was closed down. Then they also, at the time, used it as a school. As far as back in the 1930s, they had school here. Some of the older people that attended school here were Miss McCarroll and her family, my parents. It was several families that went to school. Also, I want to say a little bit about the Catholic school. There was an African American Catholic school also. We think that they were a big part of this school here as well, because I can remember when I was a child, the sisters would always come to this building to support us during Christmas. They would always bring us fruit, rolled up notebook, paper, and pencil. And we were all so excited whenever they would come. We loved it because we knew that they cared for us and they were bringing us a Christmas gift. So that was also Father Weibel. One of the streets here is named after him, which is just down the street here from Archer. He was one of the people that started the African American Catholic school. So that was another form of activities in the community. And as I was saying that this was school, I'm going to go into Miss Eddie Mae. She taught here. First, when she came to Pocahontas, she taught in Biggers for 2 years. And then after 2 years, they closed the black school down in Biggers, and she moved to Pocahontas. And the children in Biggers came to Pocahontas with her to attend school here. So in the early 1940s, well, it's around 1941 or 42, she started teaching here because she taught my brothers and sisters, which are much older than me. And then she began to teach up until 1965 when the school closed. She taught children from Biggers and also the children from Pocahontas. The main thing that is so exciting about Miss Eddie Mae is she came here at a time when we needed her so badly. We didn't know we needed her, but our families needed her. She came in and she brought to us something that we did not have. And she got with our parents, and she was just a really good teacher. And I know some people say, well, you know, she could not have been that good. But she really was. She was good for us. She taught us many, many things, not only just school, but she taught us about just everyday living, and also along with our parents. Now, I came along during the time where discipline happened. And if we got in trouble at school, and she told our parents, we got trouble at home. So she was a disciplinarian, and also our parents were. So we were disciplined quite a bit. Now, if you need to ask any questions.
Well, I was just going to make a comment. At the time Eddie Mae Herron started here, and during the early years, and maybe throughout, she was the only teacher in the Pocahontas school system that had a master's degree in education. So you had a good teacher, I mean, really good teacher.
Yes. And at that time, we didn't know all of that. We just knew she was a good teacher, and she was good to us and was good to our parents. Mm-hmm. And Miss Eddie Mae also had night classes at night. That was before they started having night classes. She would have classes for our parents, because our parents came up during the time where there was very little education. They worked a lot, and a lot of times the children had to leave school to also help in the fields and help. But she taught our parents at night. The things that our parents were weak on, she would help, like if my mother was weak in reading, which she was, she would help in reading. If my father was weak in math, she helped him with that. So it was several different families that went to school at night. So that is really, as we get older and learn now, it's really exciting to know that she also taught our parents as well as teaching us. John Allen, you can turn that fan off.
There's your picture over there, right?
This is Miss Eddie Mae. This is her picture here. She was also big in activities. She pretty well, we had everything that the local school had. We didn't have proms, but we had what she called socials. And every once a month, she would have our families to get together, and the children and our parents would make cakes, and we would have cake walks. And we would spend we would pay like a nickel every time we walked. And when we would get ready for these cake walks, Miss Eddie Mae would have us to paint numbers on the floor. And some of our numbers are still here. John Allen, you may be able to spot some of them. This one here, they're fading now because we're using the building. But this is a 5, and it's very, very clear.
Yeah.
And so she would have us to paint numbers on the floor, and as we would go around on these numbers, and if the number was under that cake, you would win the cake. So that was a big thing. And then we would all have dance. Our parents would dance, the children would dance. We would all have good family times. We also had, she was real good in plays. We would have plays. We had, some of the students were real good in art and could draw pictures. I remember one thing that was real exciting is we had we called it a television, and it was on butcher paper, and one of our students, named was Shirley Wimbish, and she would draw. So she drew the pictures on this butcher paper, and Miss Eddie Mae had us to build a case around it, and someone would stand on each end and roll it. And as we rolled, this came through just like a movie. So those are just some of the things that she was real good in doing. Reading was her main thing. She would tell us, reading is very important. You have to know how to read. Spelling was one of her big things also.
Grammar.
She was a grammar
was big.
Exactly. That's exactly. One of the things that she always told us is always try to speak your words plain and distinctively. At that time, that was a real funny thing for us. You know, every kid that went to school here, I bet, remembers that, because that was something that was really important. But the school, as far as the way she taught 8 classes, 1st grade to the 8th grade. And whenever we finished the 8th grade, we were furnished a bus, and we were bused to Newport, Arkansas for high school. That's where I attended high school, in Newport. So each class, when they got to the 8th grade, we knew we were going to get to go to Newport. That was another segregated school. It was a segregated school. It was high school and grade school together. So we knew we were going to get to go there, and that was an exciting time because we were going where everybody wasn't our cousins. Yeah. So it was really exciting. That was just an exciting time. So as each person a little bit about Miss Eddie Mae. I'm just going to read a little bit about her. She was, Miss Eddie Mae began her teaching career, like I was saying earlier, at Biggers, Arkansas, in 1940, but moved to Pocahontas, also with the children that attended school there after it was closed down. The court records revealed that Miss Eddie Mae, she was born as Etta Mae, E-T-T-A-M-A-Y. She married E.W. Herron in 1936. E.W. was from Biggers. They were married for a short time, and Miss Eddie Mae, the marriage didn't last, so then she married another guy, which his name was Reverend McDonald, Ollie McDonald. So Miss Eddie Mae was married 3 times. And Mr. McDonald died, and then she married Reverend Jones. That was her last husband. And as she moved away from here after the schools integrated, she passed away in Blytheville. That's where she moved to, in Blytheville, Arkansas. But Miss Eddie Mae was a member. She also had many friends here in Pocahontas. After we got this building up and going, many people would tell us about being friends with Miss Eddie Mae. So she was a real lovable person. And as I was saying, she taught 8 grades, you know, 1st grade, 2nd grade. You have any questions, please?
Yeah, how were the grades arranged in the room? I mean, was it all just in one room?
No.
Because a lot of people, I don't know about one-room schoolhouses, you know.
Okay. Most of our desks, you know, we didn't have air conditioning. In the summer, it was really hot. Mm-hmm. So she would let us put our desks up in a line by the windows. Oh. These are the original windows. Mm-hmm. So you would line them up there, and this was another side here, and it was the windows were over here. So our desks would be in a row. And the little children, like the 1st graders, they had little bitty seats like that one that's over here. And they would, she would put them just like in a group. Now you have to remember that it might have been 2 children in the 1st grade, or it may have been 3 in the 2nd grade. But this was this was like small chairs here, and she would have them just kindly in a circle. And always, you know, like your 5th graders and 6th graders, they were more ahead of the 1st and 2nd, so they would help her. She would give assignments for the 1st and 2nd graders, and maybe the 6th or 7th graders or 5th graders would help the 1st graders with their work. And that's how she got around to everybody. Well,
and it's a good learning experience for the older kids to teach the younger kids. That's great.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And also with recess, you know, she had a plan with recess. We did not have anything fancy. Everything we had was brought to us to the school, and we had a lot of imagination. They said, like at recess, we didn't have a bell to tell us it's time for recess. So she made a way to give extra points to the kids that had done their work or had been well behaved. They would get to be the one to go forward and let everybody know it was time for recess. And what we had was our mouth. When it came time for recess, you would go and just say, "Can I say bell today?" And if you done your work and everything, you got to. So we would say, "Bell!" And everybody knew that was time to go to recess. The same got to holler bell. That was an extra point, and she got, everybody was just excited to be the one to get to do that.
I would never be allowed to say bell.
Why?
Why?
Well, there's no telling what I would say.
Well, no, that's
Oh.
true in now.
Then you wouldn't get your extra points
Well-
if you were bad.
Now, was this stove in your schoolroom?
This was a beginner. When
Really?
we first started going to school here, we did not have gas lines, didn't have gas. So we had wood and coal.
Uh-huh.
And there was a pile of coal right outside of the building there. When we started restoring this building, we found this big thing of coal, and we have some here in the bucket there where we picked up to save. So yes, that's what we had was wood, and then we were ever so glad when gas lines were
Oh,
put
really?
in, and water lines, because we started out with outdoor toilets, and also no water and no heat. You know, gas heat and wood heat. So it's just so many things to tell about this building, so many. And I'm so excited when people come, take the time and the interest to come to the Mae Herron Center, because we have a lot to tell, and there's no end to what I can tell.
Well, what about today? What kind of activities do you have here at the, I mean, this is one of the premier African American culture centers in the state. Now, I know that they've developed the ballroom in Little Rock now, and that's a wonderful, I've forgotten the name of it, but that's a wonderful place. But you all were true. So tell us about what happens now.
Well, now, our main thing is to keep it afloat. As you know, COVID-19 has come through, and it has kind of put a damper on our activities. But the things that we do is we have a lot of barbecues. We run this place by donations and support of our community. Our city supports us big. And so they are the reason why we are able to stay here every month, every day. It's because they support us. And we are so, so, so appreciative of that. But we have a lot of barbecues. We have a lot of activities like Juneteenth. We didn't get to have this year, but we have been having Juneteenth 10 plus years now. And that's one of the activities. It's a community activity. Everybody in the community and surrounding communities come. We have barbecue, we have games, we have dance in the street, we have music. Those are the kind of things that brings families together and communities together.
You do so much to educate the community, like about Juneteenth, but also Black History Month. You have a whole bunch of activities.
The whole month we have Black History Month. That's when the schools get involved. The schools have been very good to bring children into the school, and we have this year, we educated on the inventions, African American inventions. And some of the things we have found out ourselves, I didn't know that were invented by African Americans. So those are some of the things that we do. We educate as well as have fun.
Yeah.
And we have story times for the children. We have many activities. Black History Month,
Martin Luther King Day.
Martin Luther King. That is something that we're real proud of too, because every year we have a symbolic march every year. And sometimes it's so cold, but we continue to have it, and we have just, the community comes, supports it, and we have a very, very good Martin Luther King celebration. Also, I was talking about the activities. We could not do these activities if it wasn't for the community. The community supports us just real big.
Yeah.
If they don't come, they support us by monetary donations. We have the Kiwanis Club that helps us. We have, what's the other?
Rotary?
Rotary is a and we have like membership.
Uh-huh.
If anyone is interested in becoming a member of the Eddie Mae Herron Center, that is telling us that they support the activities that we have here and support this building. And so we do have a lot of members, business members, and also individual members. But the community is very supportive.
Well, you all do so much to involve the community and to educate the community, and it illustrates what a cohesive community that we have. When you come here, you just feel wonderful. You know, you just do feel wonderful here. It's fun, it's educational, it's sweet, it's just everything really nice.
So many people have said that they really enjoy just the laughter that we have, the sitting down, eating, and just talking. I really am a believer in communication. Now, I think that I don't know you if I don't sit down and talk with you and speak with you. And I really think that that is one thing that the Eddie Mae Herron Center have done. It's brought many, many people together. Each year, you know, they can't wait till we have an activity, and people have called and asked that. So
we had a question on Facebook Live for how much is the membership for an individual or for a business or
okay,
family?
for an individual it's $25 a year. For a business it's $50 a year.
And that money goes to support all the activities that you have here.
That's
now,
right.
One thing that I've always found really fascinating is you have a hog killing.
Yes, that's in with our Black History Month.
Yes.
I want to say another thing before I forget it, is we have another fundraiser, and it's brick. We sell bricks.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to have your name or whatever put on a brick, we have a memory garden out here by our flag, and whenever you purchase a brick, we put your names out there around our flag.
How many names can you put on it? Like, can you put a husband and wife?
Yes, if they're not very long.
Well, Gerald
You
did.
have
Let's see.
26. You have 26 slots that you have to put.
Okay.
And that is something else. The VFW, not VFW, but veterans.
Yeah.
They take the bricks to Poplar Bluff for us. So there's so many people that do so much to help us, you know. But that's what the price is. The $25. But the hog butchering.
Yeah, the hog butcher.
Yes,
let's
the
go
hog
back to
butcher.
that.
And I'm telling you, I'm getting excited, everybody, because I have so much to tell. But in February, we have an old-fashioned hog butchering. And that is an educational, it's for education. Our county judge, Judge Jansen, is a butcher by trade. And we take this hog, and he demonstrates to children where your hams come from, where your pork chops, and he cuts that out, and it's just amazing. Kids love it.
Yes.
The Boy Scouts help us every year, and they're leaders. They come and help us, and we have just a big old-fashioned meal. After we have that hog butchering, we have some of the meat.
Now, in addition to your activities, Pat, you also are open every day. It's a museum.
That's right.
As well as a community center.
That's right.
And an education center. But tell us about your hours for the museum, and then give us an idea of what you've got in here.
Okay. We are open each day, Monday through Friday, from 10 to 3. And we're open for appointments. If you want to come like on a Saturday or after 3 o'clock, we have a number on our door that you can call, and we will come and open up for you. So we would love to have you to come anytime. So some of the things that are in the building here are things that we cannot replace. They are antiques, such as our stove is very antique. But we have some of the things that, like this little tricycle. That was a little tricycle that was donated to us from my nephew that lives in Springfield, Missouri. And he thought, that's got to go to the Eddie Mae Herron Center. Has the rubber wheels on it, but it's just an old little building. All of our desks here were donated to us from the people in the community.
And they're like what you had here when you were.
They are. They are. And we don't know if maybe they are some of the original ones.
Yeah,
we don't know
could
what
be.
happened to the, death. So, but they are. Like this one here, I always tell the children, these are kind of like the little house on the prairie. 2 people could sit on them. That,
Well, and these over here too.
yes.
2 big kids can sit on those.
Yeah, this one. We had a teacher that have just recently retired about, I guess 3 or 4 years ago, and she worked at the high school out here. I can't remember, but we had been looking for abacus.
Abacus. Did Eddie Mae Herron teach with one of those?
She did, but it was a small one. Yes.
Well, that's
This
neat.
is how we learn how to subtract and how to add with the abacus.
Sure.
And this is just I can't remember the name now that donated this, but she donated this to us, and I was so proud to get this because the kids that come in today do not know what that is.
What that is, yeah. Well, tell us about some of the pictures on the walls have graduates. Some of your graduates, right?
Yes, some of the pictures.
One over there. Like my favorite person is there. Your sister.
Yeah. Yes. This is Rita. But those are some of the students that attended school here. Some were. This was my sister Rita. These were some of the Johnson girls, Nettie and Janet. These are the Wimbish, Chris and Arvel. Now these are students that attended high school here whenever it integrated. These are some of the students.
And then of course you've got some Arkansas history.
We have Arkansas history. Everyone knows about Daisy Bates. And Miss Charlotte Stevens was the first African-American teacher in Arkansas.
Oh, wow.
And of course there's Miss Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King. That's his I Have a Dream speech.
Well, let me mention something down here, John Allen. This lady is watching from California.
Wonderful.
Marietta Ward Taylor, she's on here watching. So
Hey,
those are some of her portraits. Yeah.
Yes.
Great.
And that is so wonderful. She is fantastic. I mean, she's really good. These people here, I'll have to say, this is Carol Belfort Llewellyn, and that's Mrs. James.
Well, Hank McNabb, isn't it?
And Hank, yeah, that's Hank McNabb.
Yeah, Marietta is famous for her portraits. Show us, now this is, of course, an add-on.
This is an add-on because when we went to school, this opening here was the blackboard.
Oh.
And it was a stage here, and we would go up on the stage. But when this building was no longer the school, it became the very first Head Start Center.
Oh, so they had to have the kitchen.
They had to have a kitchen.
Right.
But when we came in and restored it, then we put in the cabinets and the countertop and everything. So this is how that started.
This is where the magic happens with the fried chicken that sometimes you serve. It's so good and everything else.
That's right. A lot of cooking goes on in there, and the girls that works this kitchen, they're really good. Jessie Ballard and Margaret McCarroll, they know just what to do in the kitchen.
Yeah.
I'm not very good at the kitchen. I rather talk.
Yeah.
This is some of the things that we educate on. We have posters of Thurgood Marshall, Jesse Owens, and Shirley Chisholm, Rosa Parks, Harriet Tubman. These are educational things, and that's what we try to do. We try to educate about African American history, and we have a lot of it.
Tell us about the Freedom Quilt.
Oh, yes. Yes, and this has been a really, really, really educational thing. Our kids love it. This was made by Sharon Pielemeyer. Mrs. Sharon Pielemeyer started making this quilt just before we started restoring this building for the museum center. And by the time that we were finished and had the open house, she had it made. And this tells about slaves. As you know, slaves could not read or write. So they had their own code.
It's an Underground Railroad quilt.
Underground Railroad.
Yeah.
And this is how they escaped. Each one of these patterns has a code. And if they came along and this quilt, a quilt that looked like the bear claw, if it was out, they knew that they were to follow the bear tracks, because the bear tracks would take them to water. You can get your car. Excuse me. That's the book. The Underground Railroad. And it tells you, need some water.
I'll go get you some.
Just a glass, please. This is a wagon wheel. You know, the wagon was going to be coming by, so you would be prepared to get on a wagon. These were people that were against slavery, and so they would help the people to escape by putting out a quilt. And then this one here is a zigzag pattern. They call that the drunkard's path. If they seen that quilt hanging out, they knew that the slave catchers were getting close to them. Thank you. They were getting close, so they were to go into a zigzag.
Serpentine, yeah.
Yes.
Serpentine, yeah.
So they would lose the scent of the dogs. This quilt here, if they seen this quilt hanging out, they knew that when they came to this boat, that was the one they were to get on. And when they got on that boat, this here, Northern Star, that meant that they had gotten home free. They were free then. They had gotten to Canada.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So this quilt here is been just a wonderful educational piece that Sharon, and I'm really proud that Sharon has made this for us. The school children come, and we always tell and I also go along with this. This is something that we just received last week. Ever since we had got the building, I had been wanting to try to find some slave chains. So I talked to a gentleman here. That's another way that people are so supportive. And I said, if you ever find any slave chains, I would love for you to get them for us. He called me the other day and he said, I found you some.
Wow.
So we are so proud. I am so proud of those chains. Those are the actual slave chains, and they still have the key in them.
And before you only had the picture.
Before I only had the picture.
Wow.
So now I have the actual slave, and I'm just real proud. This is a picture. One of our supporters here in Pocahontas came by and just started drawing. Miss Tina Meyer, she has made this outside toilet, and our toilet is outside right now. John Allen, you have to show our outside toilet.
Pat, on a different topic, tell us about you have a library here, and if anybody's doing any kind of research that would relate to
African American
history.
Yes, we have many, and we do have students from Black River comes, and they use our books. We have encyclopedias. We have the
video series.
Video series. Keep your eyes on the prize, and that's very, very, very good there. Also, there's something, we get something new a lot. This is something that we're working on now, and this is the Green Book. Have you seen the movie, The Green Book?
No.
There's a movie about it, but as you know, as African Americans traveled, there were places they could not go. So they had, this was their atlas where, you know, most people have an atlas. This was the Negro Atlas here. And this would tell you where you could go, where you could, if you went into a town, where you could eat lunch.
In different cities and different states?
And would not get into the areas where you couldn't go. So that was, this is, the videos and things here was from a grant from Black River, when Jan Ziegler was helping us with the grants and everything. That came with the grants. These books here that we have is from Sam's, Walmart Sam's. That's from a grant. African American books are really hard to find, like in little kids, and so they gave us a grant and we got books for that. So
that's wonderful. That's
where our books come from. We have old books, we have new books, we have a lot of yes.
What is salt in his shoes? Oh. Michael Jordan. Cool.
Yeah, I think that's his favorite friend, Michael Jordan. But we have albums of the activities that has happened through the years. Open those activities.
Yeah, here at the center, just all different kinds of things.
Yes.
And newspaper clippings, and I love scrapbooks.
Yes, and this is just when we started, when we very first started.
Very cool.
So, and also we have a group of ladies that comes and do bingo. Now that hopefully things will get better where we can all get back together again. I want to tell you a little bit about this shoe shine.
Just getting around to that. That is iconic.
This is a shoe shine stand that was in the barbershop, which is still in operation, I think, on the square, the sanitary barbershop.
And it's the oldest continuously operating barbershop in the state of Arkansas.
Is that right?
Our sanitary barbershop. But go ahead and tell us about.
But the shoe shine person, his name was Mabel Johnson. And as far as I can remember, as long as I can remember, Mr. Johnson worked at this barbershop and shined shoes. I've had John Jackson to tell stories about his dad and about him going and to get his shoes shined in the morning. And when they would get finished, they would leave out of the barbershop just really feeling good about themselves because their shoes were shined. And Mabel would also make sure that there were no hair on their jackets when he would brush them down. So Mr. Johnson, which is right here down at the lower corner, that's Mabel Johnson, and this was his actual shoe shine.
Now that was donated by Bob Ollie, right?
By Bob Ollie and Mr. Hollaball.
Oh, and Bill Hollaball.
Bill Hollaball.
Wonderful.
And he called me and said, "We've got something that you've got to have," and I was so excited about it, and I still am. So that just tells about some of the history. This piano is the piano that was also donated to us from the Missionary Baptist Church. And this is a piano that's just exactly like the one that we had when Miss Eddie made us.
Wow.
Here. She would play the piano, and we would have like our. Can you play, Linda?
No. I wish David was here. If David was here, he'd play.
Can you play John Allen?
Oh dear.
Yeah. Play us some boogie woogie.
Very good, John Allen. Man of many talents.
And like I was saying, that this was a church, so this was donated to us from Skaggs Church of Christ. This is the money plate, the communion. I'm sorry. These are some of the old communion glasses. Now they throw them away. Those are actually glass.
They're glass.
So,
Who are these pictures over here on this board?
Oh, okay.
Are these local people?
They were, yes. This is Mr. Taylor.
Oh,
This is
Henry Taylor.
Yes.
Well,
This-
it was the Diane Theater that blew up, remember?
That's right.
And,
I couldn't think of it while ago.
and it was McNabb's was right next door, and I think he worked for McNabb's, and he went down to, I don't know, stoke
Light
a
a
fire or something, and
It was a gas leak, is
Yeah.
what we was told.
yeah, I think so.
This is Bertie Pittman, and this is Alma Taylor, and this is Bertie Pittman's daughter. These are Gene Oakes's family. They were the people that were founders of the church. And speaking of Mr. Taylor's, excuse me, this is an article about Mr. Taylor. His wife had it, and she said, I want you to put that in the center.
Wow.
This is
my
the
word.
original
I have never
1948.
seen that. Can you see that? That's where the McNabb's funeral home and the Diane Theater blew up. My mother, we lived about 6 or 8 blocks from town.
Inside.
We lived about 6 or 8 blocks from town, and my mother was out hanging up clothes that morning, and a seat from the Diane Theater landed right beside her.
Oh my
Of course,
goodness.
she worried about Daddy because he was working there, but
Yeah.
isn't that something?
But he was the only one that was killed. There was two. There was I think there was 2 others that were hurt real badly. But Mr. Taylor was killed, and his wife donated that to here. So
That
we're
is
just real
wonderful.
proud.
I didn't-
1948. So that means like 70 plus what I am. But the last thing here is about the school. A lot of people don't understand and know about the integration of the school. This is a timeline here, John Allen. I want you to just take the timeline of when everything started and when the schools integrated.
Well, you know what this tells me, Pat, is that some people who haven't been here need to come and visit and spend some time with this information and learn about all this and learn about local history as well as African American history.
That's right.
In the state of Arkansas and nationwide. It's just a wonderful resource and learning place.
It is most definitely. And it also teaches us how far things have come, even though we have a lot farther to go.
Yeah.
At one time, this was a segregated place where only African American people could come to and enjoy everything. Now it's open to everybody, and we enjoy having so many people. Another thing that we have is we have a big pie auction.
Well, I forgot about that. Yes,
That's
you
one
do.
of our fundraisers. So we have a lot of activities here.
Let me go ahead and show this. I want John Allen a close-up on the address, and I
Yes.
presume that donations can be sent to this address. I've been working in the garden. My fingernails have dirt under them, but okay. And we got a message from someone who wanted to know the address to send. So
okay.
we'll also give this address to them
Okay.
by messenger. Can you think of anything else? It's been fabulous.
Well, I hope so. I know I have left out a lot of things, but I do want to say one thing, and we have a picture up here of the people that helped start this. We have a board.
The founders.
We have a board of directors here.
Is this it?
Those were the beginning board of directors. They're the ones that helped start to get this organization together. Some of our older people, they have left us now, but they have left seeds that they planted in this building for all of us to grow on. So
Well,
now we have new members, of course. Now we have new members of the museum.
well, I think if you can't
I'm
think of anything else, we'll conclude.
just so excited. I'm just so thankful, Linda, that you all have chosen us to be a part of this. And I just thank everybody. And if you have not been here, we'd love for you to come. And whenever we're having dances or eating, please come and join us. We'd love to have you. We'd love to have company.
That's right. Great.
No,
Well,
it's all right.